Before the world we know, there was another. A continent teeming with life, where majestic forests touched the sky and plains stretched like a golden sea. This was a land of balance, a world untouched, where humanity lived not as conquerors, but as a part of the earth itself. Across this vast expanse, hundreds of distinct nations thrived, each with its own language, its own traditions, its own unique way of understanding the universe. From the sun-drenched canyons of the southwest to the dense woodlands of the east, these were the first peoples. They were astronomers, architects, farmers, and philosophers. They hunted the great bison, fished in pristine rivers, and cultivated the land with a reverence born from generations of wisdom. Their lives were woven into the seasons, marked by ceremonies, storytelling around crackling fires, and a profound spiritual connection to the world around them. This was a continent alive with culture, a mosaic of peoples living in harmony with the land they called home. Before the conquest, there was a vibrant, breathing world. Then a shadow appeared on the horizon. Strange, towering ships with billowing white sails cut through the waves, heralding an arrival that would change this world forever. From the 15th century onwards, waves of European colonizers, Spanish, British, French, and others began to land on these shores. At first, there was curiosity, perhaps even caution. But soon, the clash of worlds became inevitable. The newcomers saw not a thriving civilization, but a wilderness to be tamed. They saw not sovereign nations, but obstacles to expansion. They brought with them concepts alien to the native inhabitants, private ownership of land, the relentless pursuit of wealth, and a belief in their own manifest destiny to dominate. The initial encounters, sometimes peaceful, quickly soured. The demand for land grew insatiable, treaties were made only to be broken. Promises were given only to be forgotten. The indigenous peoples who had called this land home for millennia found themselves defending not just their territories, but their very existence against a technologically superior and unyielding force. The great conflict had begun. The struggle was fierce and desperate. Native warriors, masters of their terrain, fought with incredible bravery to protect their families and their way of life. They resisted with every tool at their disposal, from diplomatic negotiation to armed defense. But they faced an enemy unlike any they had ever known. The invaders brought with them not just guns and cannons, but invisible killers. Diseases like smallpox, measles, and influenza, to which the indigenous peoples had no immunity, swept through communities like wildfire. Entire villages were wiped out before they ever saw a colonizer's face. What couldn't be taken by disease was taken by force. A brutal and systematic campaign of displacement began. The policy was clear: remove the native inhabitants to make way for settlement. This dark chapter in history saw the destruction of homes, the burning of sacred sites, and the forced relocation of entire nations. The land that had sustained them for centuries was now a landscape of sorrow and loss. Perhaps the most infamous of these forced migrations is known as the Trail of Tears. In the 1830s, the Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, and Seminole nations were forcibly marched from their ancestral homelands in the southeastern United States to designated territory in the West. Under the brutal watch of soldiers, thousands of men, women, and children were driven across more than 1,000 miles of unforgiving terrain. They walked through freezing winters and scorching summers with inadequate food, water, or shelter. The journey was a slow-motion tragedy. The elderly and the young were the first to perish, their bodies left in unmarked graves along the trail. Of the approximately 16,000 Cherokees who were forced to march, an estimated 4,000 died. The Trail of Tears is not just a single event. It is a symbol of a continent-wide policy of ethnic cleansing. Across North America, similar stories of forced marches, broken treaties, and shattered communities played out time and time again. This was a systematic effort to erase a people from their land. The onslaught continued into the late 19th century. The great bison herds, the lifeblood of the plains tribes, were hunted to near extinction, not just for their hides, but as a deliberate military strategy to starve the native populations into submission. The last pockets of resistance were crushed. The era of the warrior ended and the era of the reservation began. Confined to small, often barren parcels of land, the survivors were subjected to a new kind of warfare, cultural assimilation. Children were forcibly taken from their families and sent to boarding schools, where they were forbidden to speak their native languages or practice their traditions. Their hair was cut, their names were changed, and they were taught that their own culture was savage and inferior. The goal was to kill the Indian and save the man. This systematic cultural destruction was, in many ways, as devastating as the physical violence that preceded it. The loss was immeasurable not just of lives and land, but of knowledge, art, and wisdom accumulated over thousands of years. The population, once numbering in the tens of millions, had dwindled to a few 100,000 by the dawn of the 20th century. An entire world had been brought to the brink of annihilation, but the story does not end in tragedy. It does not end with the last warrior or the final broken treaty. It ends with resilience. Against all odds, the spirit of the first peoples endured. Hidden in the quiet corners of reservations, passed down in secret whispers from grandparent to grandchild, the old ways survived. Languages that were nearly silenced are being spoken again. Ceremonies that were outlawed are being practiced with pride. A new generation is rising, one that is reclaiming its heritage and rewriting its own future. Today, Native American communities across the continent are vibrant centers of cultural revival. They are artists, activists, scholars, and leaders working to heal the wounds of the past and build a better future for their people. They are fighting for their sovereign rights, protecting sacred lands, and sharing their profound wisdom with a world that desperately needs it. They are a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to survive, to remember, and to be reborn. They tried to erase a people. They tried to silence their songs, break their spirit, and bury their history, but they failed. Look closely, and you will see the legacy of this ancient civilization all around you. It's in the names of our rivers and states, in the crops that feed the world, and in the enduring values of living in balance with the earth. The echoes of that lost world are still here, a quiet but powerful presence in the land itself. The sun now rises over a new day, illuminating the faces of a people who have not been vanquished, but have endured. Their journey is a powerful reminder that while you can take a people's land, you can never truly extinguish their spirit. For the spirit of the Native Americans still whispers through the winds of the land they once, and always will, call home. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this story moved you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel to explore more stories that history almost forgot. Your support helps us continue to share these vital narratives. Thank you for watching.